we're kind of moving to new territory in Pagosa Springs Real Estate, you know. Sherpa's been here 10 years, and we're kind of doing some expansion, and we've got Jim Smith here today to just reach back and remember and to kind of establish the history that he's brought as we put these two companies together and move forward. So thanks for joining me, Jim, here to have a chat. When did you and Nancy move here, and how did you get here, and what were the early years like for you?
Oh, you're going way back. We moved here in 1977. My mom and dad bought a piece of property up here and started building their dream cabin in Colorado, just like most people that come into a real estate office. And they built the house up there on Page Road. And when they got it down to where it was about finished, I brought their furniture up from Houston for them because I had been working down there, driving a truck for my brother in Houston. And I told, I said, when they're done, I'm going to take the furniture up to them and see if I can find a job.
Oh, yeah.
And so I did that and came up, and we brought their furniture to them. I helped my dad finish off the house, sand the floors, and urethane them and all this, few little things like that, and move their furniture in. And so I've been up here about a month. Now, the backside of that story is that I sent my wife home to her folks and in San Antonio, and I said, I'll call you when I get a job. So a month later, I call her and say, I got a job. My first job was with the sawmill that used to be on the corner of Highway 160 and 84. And it was a big sawmill. Hutsmith, something like that. Was the owner. And I walked in there, and they gave me a job right away, and I started stacking lumber on the green chain. And I was probably making minimum wage.
Yeah.
And stacking lumber, running up and down. I was in good shape, though, running up and down that green chain, stacking lumber. So I did that, and then they went out of business 6 months later.
Oh, wow.
And I had met a few people that were working over with the land developer, Eaton International Corporation, which is now that area, Pagosa Lakes. And so I knew some of those guys, and so that me and this other guy named Robert Cunningham, we were having coffee together, and he said, "Let's go get our real estate license."
It's a good idea.
Yeah, we were thinking we could make some really good money. Like, man, we might be able to make $20,000 a year.
That's right.
I mean, that's where we were.
Clean house.
It was lean times back then. So that that sounded good to us. So we went to. I hawked 2 cars. Everything, my earthly possessions were 2 used automobiles, and I took them to Citizens Bank, and I hawked them, and they gave me like $800, and I went to sales school in Denver, and for a 2-week crash course, and came back with my sales license, and then walked into Eaton International here in Pagosa, and they called it Pagosa in Colorado back then, and that's what their name was, Pagosa in Colorado. And I asked for a job.
I mean, back then, how many salespeople were there selling real estate, roughly?
Probably 10 or 12,
okay,
15. Yeah. I mean, it was growing. I mean, yeah, somewhere there. And so they hired me, and I was kind of an introvert back then, so they were a little. They weren't sure.
You didn't fit their profile?
Yeah, I didn't fit the profile. And
you guys sell mostly land then, right? They were developing up.
Yeah, it was all land.
Yeah.
It was all land. Yeah, they were just land developers. They were developing all Pagosa Lakes out there.
And so you got a job working for those guys selling land. And one of the things you've told me before I think was fascinating is kind of the method you guys used back then. I think our agents would appreciate this. The method you used, it was a little bit of a timeshare setup, right? It was kind of operated like more like timeshares where you would have like a piece of land you would go to in the morning?
Oh, yeah. The people would come in on what we call letter of vacation, and they were just invites for people to come and stay a couple nights at the Best Western Hotel, which was the lodge, and they would stay there, and they would take a tour in return. You take a tour, and you get your free vacation.
So like a land tour.
Yeah,
That's
and so they would come in, and we would have these certain things that we would discuss with them about the area, and then we would take them around in the car, in our cars, and show them the golf course, and show them the lakes, and show them the clubhouses, and just kind of just show them all the stuff, to get them excited. And we would always every morning we would have at the sales meeting they would say, "Here's your qualifier lot," and so the qualifier lot was just a lot that everybody went to. You were required by the management to say, okay, this is the qualifier lot. You would take your people there. And so when you when you get to the lot, of course, there's 6 or 7 maybe agents in front of you, and they're walking around the lot, and they're taking their people around, and they're just showing them everything.
There's like 20 people on the lot.
And yeah, I mean, it could be. And so when if you're the first one on the lot and you're there with your people, and then the next guy was coming up with his people, and he would always ask, "Is this property still available?" And you would look to your client, your customer, and say, "Is it?"
I don't know. Is it? You kind of hard sell them. You press them.
And we just kind of, and they say, and usually they say, "Yeah, we're not, we want to see some more."
So then you built Jim Smith. You launched it in '87, right?
Right. I left Fairfield. I went with another little company for a few months, and then went and got my broker's license, and then I opened Jim Smith Realty along with another guy, Harold Kelly, and we shared an office. He was Harold Kelly Realty. I was Jim Smith Realty. But this was in the middle of the '80s recession. Some people will remember the savings and loan, Texas, particularly in Texas, and it was hard times. And my wife, she worked at a restaurant, Old Miners restaurant, and did clean houses.
I was going to say, she probably clean houses like everyone else.
And she kept us alive.
Wow.
And, that first year we opened, I think I did 7 deals. And then, which is, on starvation rations. But it just, and Harold, he got so bad, he went to California. And the folks across the street, I was on the north side of the highway over there in the Hirsch building. And you can still see the Aspen paneling that I put up. And the people that own the location I'm in now, it was just an old Dairy Cream it was a metal building. It had been a snowmobile shop originally, and it had turned in numerous different things. It had been a Dace Esley Realty once, and it was a video store and everything, but it was empty. And here we are in the middle of recession, and the people that owned it and the Dairy Cream next door begging me to say, "Come over here and rent this." And we went back and forth until we finally, yes, okay, I'll come and rent it. And I was very fortunate. God sent me 4 agents pretty quick, and 3 or 4. And we just split the overhead. And that's how we survived there for that first year or 2. And then we would rent out. There was part of the building that was being rented out to the Job Corps, and then another part of the building we rented to one season was H&R Block. They had the back conference room. And so we were just up front in a little tiny space and starving.
Yeah. So then you were entering the savings and loan crisis era then, and just to set the stage, obviously there was no internet. There was, 35 millimeter photos on paper, and that's how you got to your listings and all that. And then you did something, I always like to bring this up because you did something that I think was foundational and creative, that I think kind of helped save you guys back then and to propel you into the future. And that was kind of the magazine. And tell us the story of how that got started, because I think that's fascinating for people to understand, maybe people who are not in real estate or maybe people who are in real estate, what that looked like when you guys started doing the lot things.
When Harold and I first started there, a gentleman named Norm Vance, he had a magazine called The Adventure Guide. It was a tabloid magazine, and he would just tell stories about Pagosa and its past and things to do and stuff like that. And it was pretty popular on the streets back then. This was in the mid 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And we splurged and bought a 4-page fold out. And in that magazine, that very first year, and the way we paid for that was kind of important. It was,
that's the part that's interesting.
I think it was just the Lord gave me this idea. And because imagine, okay, here we are in Pagosa Springs. There's not very many people. The population is a fraction of what it is now. All these houses out here in Pagosa Lakes weren't here. There were just a dab of houses. It was vacant land. A lot of it didn't even have water and sewer or roads yet. I mean, Hatcher and Highlands was totally primitive.
Just
back then, and Twin Creek and areas we know now are all built up with big, beautiful homes. It was just vacant land and vacant land lots back then. There were signs everywhere, realtor signs. Yes. And people would come and say, why is there so much stuff for sale? Yeah, I mean, they were saying, why is everything for sale?
Yeah.
Because it was, and I just got this idea where I got a copy. I jumped through some hoops, but I got the owners of those properties I think I got them from the county.
A list, yeah.
A list of names and addresses of property owners. And I put together a little postcard. It was a double fold postcard and fold it out and tear it off. And on one side, it would say, we will list your property and send for or call us for a free market analysis. We'll tell you what your property's worth. And if you want to, for $89, we'll list your property and we'll put it in the newspaper. We'll put it in the classified ads. And so,
because no one was doing that.
No.
Yeah.
And so we did that. And so people started sending us checks. And so think about this. We had 350 listings.
Yeah.
300, of lot listings average back in those days.
A lot of listings.
A lot of listings. And they all each sent me $89.
They're like, just sending me money.
And so I was just struggling, to bring this business out of the ground. And here is some marketing cash that really helped propel us. We were able to buy that ad the first year. The next year, we did a big insert into Norm's magazine called
a map insert.
It was real estate articles, real estate oriented. It was called the San Juan Shelter. And then the next year, I said, Norm, I want to start my own magazine.
Yeah.
Will you help me? He said, yeah, I'll help you. And so I came up with the Pagosa Magazine, the Pagosa Magazine and Real Estate Guide. And so he helped me build that, and I basically took all the Chamber of Commerce articles that they had in the
Mhm.
chamber, and I put them in my magazine.
And you made like a self-tour guide, like a self-guided
Yeah.
tour. Yeah.
And then I did a map and had someone, I forget how I got that map now, but I had that map developed. And then I came out of that Eaton International and then Fairfield when they changed to Fairfield, high pressure sales. And I was just sick of it. And so I just did a do it yourself real estate guide. And so I put signs on my lots, but I put a number on them, and they'd each have a number. And then in the guide, I would have in my magazine, it would be the real estate section. Okay, here's number 43, such a lot, and a description of it and a picture. So, yeah, we have pictures of it. And then there'd be directions in the description how to get there. Take up this road, this road, this road, and that's how you get to that particular property. And so you just drive, or you could just drive around all the Pagosa Lakes area, and when you saw a sign with a number on it, you say you could look it up in the book.
I think that's fascinating that, I mean, you said that God gave you that idea, which I believe is true, but like that was 37, 38 years ago. And now, fast forward, you know, I'm only, you know, a little bit older than that. No, but 10 years older than that. But for most of my life, that magazine has been a staple here. You can go in any VRBO, short-term rental. You're in 20 or 30 locations here, anywhere from 25 to 30,000 publication a year. Yeah. And that thing has become such a staple for the community. I run into people all over the place for years. They love the magazine. They keep it in their console when they come. That's the first thing they grab when they come into town for the spring or the fall. So
some people mount it on their walls, frame it.
So I love that because I see a couple of things in there. I see that you know, necessity is the mother of invention, right? Yeah. And, you know, I know you've been through several cycles. You know, I've been through a few now, and it just reminds me of, you know, trying to get creative when the screws really come on. And I've always admired that about you, is really what I want to say. And I feel like,
well, I think it was God's idea.
Yeah.
He just showed me a way to move forward.
Yeah.
Because, I'm really not all that smart.
I don't know if that's true.
I am blessed.
I know both of those are probably true. You probably are smart and blessed. Do you remember, this is a rabbit trail, do you remember, because I worked for you in 7, 8, 9, 10 or 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there.
Back there.
When things were hard, that was a hard time for sure.
Yeah.
And you and I don't remember if it was your idea or mine, but I liked working for you so much because you would, I call it, WAM management, walk around with a cup of coffee management every morning. And you would come by at 10 and 2, and, you know, my brain's always trying to figure, because I was real broke back then too as an agent, just starting out, little kids. And I was trying to, I don't remember if it was your idea or mine or both of ours, because we would brainstorm together. And this is pre-Zillow, pre-Realtor.com, and we thought, let's get some GPS units, and we can download all the data for those who aren't in real estate, download all the data, photos, the contact of the agent. We put them in our car, and clients can drive around, and when they drive in front of the house they like, it'll pop up the picture, and they can call the agent. And like, I don't know if you remember those days, but I had spent a ton of money and time on getting the data together, and we were, I think that month I think the TomTom GPSs were like $500 a piece or something. I was going to buy a bunch of them, and maybe I'd talk to you into buying some with me.
Yeah, I think that was mostly your idea.
Okay. well, the second we were going to go to market, this thing called Zillow came out, and everyone had a smartphone, and they had $205 million budget, and it blew us out of the water. I was so disappointed because I thought we had stumbled on a great invention.
You just a little too late because the smartphone came out and changed everything.
I didn't have $200 million in my pocket. I had like $18 to my name. So,
but that was a good idea.
Yeah. Well, and I think
Just if the smartphone had been another 5 years, and then it probably would have been a good idea.
Well, and for years thinking through doing real estate here in Pagosa, I've always equated. I think you and I have a little bit of that in common, a little bit of innovative thought, and I know that times change all that, but I just have always appreciated that with you, and that you were willing to embrace those ideas too.
And you took you did a lot too. You did that map on the internet.
That's right,
and which was really great, and it basically gives people a bird's eye view. The one thing you have to do, when you have someone come in to Pagosa, they want to know about the area. The reason why the magazine is that I was taught, you got to sell the area, and you got to sell the company, and you got to sell yourself, and you're probably in reverse order, but giving people a tool where they can feel comfortable because they come into a strange place. We tried to give them every bit of information in the magazine that they could get, and then later that went into websites, and where people could look on the website and get the information they needed. But when people come in and drive into town, the magazine it's still popular.
It is,
even in this high digital age. It's still popular. But times are changing really fast, and I don't think I can keep up anymore. The little gray cells are not just keeping quite up to speed like they used to do. Because I used to really have to. I'd spend a lot of time thinking and mulling, and
it's a lot of brain energy,
a lot of prayer, and God gave me a lot of great ideas, and. But now, I just say, I don't think I can keep up anymore. And that brings us to this.
To this discussion, yeah. One of the questions that I did want to ask you, and I think we could both share this. I mean, just like you said, we've built companies, I think, not to over-summarize, but they give good guidance to people. That's a big part of our whole brand, and it's really your brand too. But I was thinking about that this morning. What if you could put a couple of values, what are a couple of driving factors or values that you've held on to over the years? What do we want to be known by as far as our value sets to the community? And I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Well, we always just want to help people find their dream. Really.
100%.
People come in, when I was working in a very intense environment, when I first got in real estate, it was high pressure. And
you said manipulative also, yeah.
And, I went the opposite direction when I went into business for myself. I said, okay, here's a do-it-yourself real estate guide. Here's all the information. Go out and find the one you want and let me know.
Yeah. Well, I'll write it up for you.
Because that got to be, after a while, I got too much work changing the numbers on all the signs. But twice a year. Because we published the magazine twice a year, then all the numbers would change.
Yeah,
and so we stopped doing some of that.
Yeah,
and slowly, but we just wanted to make it easy for people not to be intimidated, but to just find what they wanted on their own as much as they could. Now, later, of course, when we were starting to sell houses and stuff like that, we tried to do the same thing in the magazine. Now we have video, and and you've really done really well in that field with some of the YouTube videos and everything that everybody watches now.
Yeah. We're excited, just on a little bit of a tangent, but we're excited as we partner with you and move forward to keep the magazine, the paper. I was talking to your co-owner of the magazine, Katie, and we were just talking about different schematics and stuff. She goes, you have to keep the magazine with enough information, but not too much, because you still have to fold it up and put it in your back pocket, because that's important. So just those little nuances are fascinating to me. But we hope and we think we can take what's there and infuse a little more digital creation into it to really give our clients and our agents just in their community, because a lot of our community just read that magazine, but really produce a robust situation there. So
yeah,
I'm excited about that. I'm excited to look at the whole thing.
I think people still enjoy the magazine, and they certainly pick it up still. So and I see them reading it in restaurants still.
100%. Yeah, for me, and as Rach and I have tried to prayerfully build Sherpa and grow the team here that we have. And then as we combine, and our heart's desire kind of from a value standpoint, if I could put it out there, is, and I mentioned Rachel, she doesn't work technically with us, but as my spouse, she's my right-hand advisor and everything. But just to provide the guidance to agents so they can provide guidance to clientele, right? And I just have a theory that if we can, the agents are my main customer, right? And if I can support them, grow their businesses, coach and have a value set that grows, then they're the best version of themselves, even for the community, to give back to the community with their time and talents and treasures, give back to the community, and also guide their clients. And that's been a focal point for us. And we haven't done it perfectly, but it's fun. It's fun to practice that. And, the way we were created, right? We were created a certain way for good things, right?
Yeah. Instead of twisting people's arms, you're really trying to come alongside and help.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, you don't have to be a great salesman to be a real estate agent. You just need to have a compassion for people and really like to help people.
Yeah. So thank you, Jim, so much. As we kind of talk through and wrap this up, just to be clear, and for our audience too, this is technically an acquisition, even though we're calling it a merger. And the reason behind that is, we're taking two groups of agents, two brands, two locations, and we're kind of, there is some merging going on, right? It's not just there's a lot of merging going on, but technically it's an acquisition, and the Sherpa brand will be out there. But I've asked you to stay on for a while. I don't know if you want to speak to that a little bit, what your role might be in the next year or two.
Well, I'll hang out for a while.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any urgent business to go do, but except my garden. I don't want to just go home and sit on my rocking chair.
No. Well, I do look forward to the next year or so, just being closer to you on that, asking questions. I know you got a lot of wisdom and moving parts that I don't know of. I think I know a lot of them, but there's some that I don't know. But
they're not hard to pick up. You just a little more time.
Yeah. But my hope, my goal, my hope, our thoughts are that as we move forward, we continue with Sherpa to carry on what you started, and to do it with faithfulness and honesty and ethics in the community. And also, we have some pretty big dreams about building in a little bit more of the generosity give back component that we started 10 years ago. We haven't really talked about on this video, but we're actually planning an event for April. So that'll be something to look for, where we can go a little more public with the community to encourage the community on different levels and aspects. And one of those is to rally around some of our nonprofits, maybe in a way that we haven't done before, and to use our resources in real estate, our resources with time and finances to encourage other companies to do that. So I'm really looking forward to adding that piece in as we move forward.
I think that's a wonderful idea
for the company. Yeah. And I know that aligns with your heart and what you've done here.
It's absolutely.
Thank you again, Jim, for meeting with me today. Super fun. Just to
super fun.
Catch up and chat like we do a lot of times.
Lots of times.
And this moving forward with Sherpa, this would not be possible without what Jim's laid the foundation for almost 40 years. And we hope we can honor that and move forward and continue positive growth and innovation in the community, because my desire is for our agents and our staff to be able to serve the community as we move forward and even grow some more. So
even more.
Let's do it.